Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Give me a wave. Can you hear me? Can you see me clearly? Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. When you're ready, if you can, turn on those cameras. If you can't, get those fingers ready on the keyboard. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker at the 100X DNA Accelerator, Dr. Z. A physician, mother, and advocate for mental health and well-being, Dr. Z has dedicated her life to promoting and improving the lives of those around her. Today she'll be sharing with you reasons for doing advocacy work, discussing the 3G life cycle that she has created, and reflecting on the lessons she's learned during COVID-19. With a background as a physician and a successful author, Dr. Z brings a unique perspective to the conversation and is an expert on the importance of being vulnerable. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Dr. Z? Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning for us. Good evening to you. How are you doing there?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Now I'm going to hand it over to you, and today I look forward to being your student. So thanks for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So what I want to do today is to change your brains a little. I want to shake all these ideas that you have right now about the stress and help you to rethink stress in a different way. And for that, I will ask you to follow me a little. Okay. So I will ask you to first raise your hands if you feel stressed or you have been stressed during the last few weeks or months. One hand, someone stressed here. I see. Well, now I will ask you to do a little extra. I will ask you to raise two hands if you have been feeling very, very stressed, like a lot of stress. And sadly, I have to admit that, yes, I am there. Daniel, you too. Lee, I can see you too. Okay, so I am not the only one. So probably if we will go to any place, a hospital, a classroom, a big company, or we will go to the park and ask parents about this, what we will see is this: everybody raising hands, no matter the age, no matter the color, the country. We will have everybody saying that for some reason they are suffering from stress. And the question is this something good or is something bad? And I will remove my camera now because I cannot do my magic trick looks with my camera here or in both places. So bye-bye for a second so you can see me the other way. Let's see now. And so what I want you guys to do is to see these 9 dots and try to connect them without lifting the pen and using only 4 straight lines. And I will give you a few seconds. And if someone is able to do it, please let me know. If I don't see you raising your hand, you can unmute yourself and tell me I did it. Any second more. Oh, I see someone saying something here. Done. Amazing, Nor. So cool. Don't tell the secret yet. Okay, looks like we have someone that did it. Did you, Daniel? Wait. Okay, I'm waiting for you. Done? No? So let's check the answer. Do you want Nor to show us in the camera how did you do it, to see if we did it if you did it correctly or the same way that we did it here. Oh, I see an answer. Did before but forgotten. Okay. So let me show you. Very good. So let's try to do this here. So now this is the answer. Are you surprised with the answer? Huh? There we are. Are we surprised with the answer now? Why did we fail? Because I fail all the time, by the way. This is not the first time that I will try, and I forget all the time how to do it. So, Lee, do you want to tell me why do you think that you fail? You can unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
There you are.
I think when your mind is not focused, you can't really think out of the box. You just tend to see what you see in front of you. So if you're stressed and you're busy with other things, you tend not to focus, I guess.
So probably what was happening is like everybody else, right? We were thinking on the box. We were thinking about what is typical, but we were not thinking about how to do this in a different way. And we thought probably we need to keep this inside of these 9 dots, but really we can go out of these dots and in that way try to get this done. So for some reason, I'm having technological challenges, but that's part of life. So we'll keep going. So I want you, if you didn't do this yet, there is an app called Slido that is free app on the phone. And I will ask you to download it. It's super easy and to put that code. And that will allow us to keep interacting while we talk about the stress. But while we are downloading this, Daniel, were you close to the answer or not yet?
I was very close.
Cool. Yes, a bit different with mine. Okay, Nor, thank you for telling us. So stress is good here, and it depends a little here. And I am admitting here Adrian, very good. Someone that considers stress bad. I mean, everybody talks about how bad is stress and we should not be stressed, right? Hi, Adrian. If you don't mind, we are playing with the Slido free app in your phone. You can download it and just use that code and you will be able to vote and to actively participate. Oh, here we have one bot. Someone is agreeing with me. Or I convinced someone on this one. Very good. So looks like majority are talking about stress being good. I'm very surprised. Someone that answered that the stress is good, will be able to share why? Why do you think that is good? Nadia, did you answer good by any chance? Yeah, so you want to tell us why?
Yes, because to me, when personally I work better or I perform better under stress, it makes my mind work harder.
Oh my gosh, we are sisters from another country, Nadia. I feel like you, so I love to be stressed too. But we'll see what science says. So in reality, stress is in some way good, right? Or could be good, especially if we use it in the right way and we go through it in the right way. And stress was created as a way for us to prevent bad things to happen and to escape from the lions, right? When we were living in the middle of the jungle with our son and we didn't have any other choice to run, our amygdala that is inside of our brain, a tiny, tiny piece of our brain that is kind of the sign alarm, is the one that will feel the fear and will let the rest of the body know that something bad is happening, will get activated and ring. And then the rest of the body will start changing and going through different transformations till our kidneys or over our kidneys, our adrenal glands will start producing adrenaline. And adrenaline will help us to have our heartbeats going fast. Tuk, 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 tuk. Our blood pressure will go high. And that means that our brain and our muscles will receive extra and extra oxygen and nutrients so we can really escape from the lion. The problem is that today, majority of us, I would like to say, we don't live with lions, but we live with other type of lions, right? Sometimes I call them bosses, presidents of some countries, criminals, bad husbands or bad wives or crazy kids, right? Or and at the end, we are every day exposed to some kind of lions in our typical and more modern life. But our amygdala doesn't know that we will not be eaten and still reacts with all this heart rate going up and the blood pressure and all these things sweating, right? That makes us feel so agitated. Is that wrong? I will say that if the lion is there, it's absolutely right. But let's see what happened with excess of it. So some studies are trying to explain what happens with a different type of stress and how do we perform in our real life when we are in front of a stress. And the truth is that we have these two extremes. The one that is in green here, where we are probably in the beach. For those that drink, I don't, but with a margarita or receiving a massage and, just relaxing. And I'm sure that if you have a test tomorrow or some important homework to do for tomorrow, that homework probably will not be done because you will be too relaxed to think about the consequences of not giving your homework to the teacher or having a good score in your test. In the other extreme, you are really living with the lion. You are sleeping with the lion, you are eating with the lion, and that's your life. And it's when, for example, a physician is going through times of COVID and is seeing patients dying and doesn't have enough staff and has to be in the hospital for day after day after day. And when finally is able to go home, cannot even hug their kids or their family members because he's afraid of getting them sick. And when this happen, not only that you feel exhausted, but you can feel very anxious and upset and depressed, and that takes you to burnout. And I'm sure that in that extreme, your performance will be very poor because you are not able to really give your best. There is nothing good from you to give because you are totally sick, you are totally tired, you are totally stressed. And in the middle, we have this stress that is the good one. It's like, I am taking this exam is important because if not, I will not get into medical school or I will not be able to be a lawyer and I really need to study and makes me super nervous. But that makes me super nervous really makes me study too. And that's a kind of a positive way to use the stress, right? When it's a way of motivating ourselves, when it's challenging us to the point that we give our best, our 100%, and if possible, our 200%. But again, when we move to the zone of rest, the stress will start happening. Our concentration will be affected. We will feel tired. We will have insomnia. And then we will probably go in direction of burnout, and the stress will not allow us to perform appropriately or the way that we want. So now, yes. So now I want you to use again technology and think about a professional or personal moment that put you in stress, right? That's something that you really like, you felt like, oh my goodness, I cannot do this. And try to bring those feelings or those emotions or even those reactions. What happened in your body? What happened in your heart? What happened when you went back home? How did you act? And try to type it in the same slide. Disappointment, sadness, anxiety, grief, stress for sure, fear, feeling excited, nervous, desperate, loss of focus, shame, disappointment. And all of these look like what we will call negative emotions, right? Everything here looks so negative in theory. And when we feel like that, this will start this kind of cycle of, because I feel anxious, I feel more upset, and I feel more stressed, and I have more fear, and then I feel shame, and I feel disappointed, and I am afraid of making others to feel disappointment. And we enter in this negative cycle that grows and grows like it is a snowball, and we don't know how to stop it. And that's really scary, but it happens, and it's part of our reality when we go over a negative event. And the truth is that, yes, negative feelings may happen. And I want to change your perspective, not only about the stress, but I want to change your idea also about negative feelings. But let's start first understanding what happens in our body. So we initially spoke about acute stressors, right? And acute stress, the lion. So when the lion comes, certain changes happen in our body, and we talk about the amygdala, and then the adrenal medulla that is above our kidneys, and the things that we will see: increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, and more cerebral flow, and also in the muscles, right? But our organs will not be damaged. What happened in the chronic stress and is this perpetuation of these negative feelings, right? Like we had a negative encounter with someone, and instead of feeling these negative feelings, we perpetuate them, and we keep thinking about them, and they were growing and growing and staying with us for longer than the small moment of the negative event. Now we have these feelings that are after us for days or months. What happened is that we start feeling this chronic stressor or this chronic stress, right? And this will act a little different. It will start very similar in the area of our amygdala and then our suprarenals, but while it will be increasing the blood pressure and it will be also increasing our heart rate in some way, at some point it will stop doing these acute symptoms. And what will happen is that the other part of the adrenal cortex that is also part of the suprarenal will be activated. And cortisol, which is an hormone that is related to inflammation and to the immune system that we have, that is our defenses against bacteria and other type of infections, will be super active. And what will happen is that now we not only will have this high blood pressure, we will have also inflammation. So diseases like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus may be active now. Endothelial dysfunction, that means that inside of our arteries and our veins, this tiny tissue, very tiny tissue that covers the arteries and the veins, will be inflamed. And what will cause is blockage of our circulation, meaning that we will have more risk of having heart attacks or strokes, or even problems in our kidneys or our vision. And then we will have also problems in our nervous system, which is our brain per se, because again, not only because of a stroke, but because other hormones that we produce in our brain will be affected. And therefore, as a consequence, we will see patients of people developing diabetes, like a chronic disease, hypertension, strokes, cardiac problems or cardiac infarcts, dementia, and of course, the emotional aspect like depression, post-traumatic distress, and as the end, probably ideation, suicidal ideation, and even suicide. So that's why it's so important to make the difference between the lion, just roaring in front of us, and living with the lion, and perpetuating those things that we can control, that are our feelings. Because we may not be able to control the lion, but we can control what we do with the lion. If we escape from the lion, if we decide to move to another house so we are not living with the lion, or we are not working with the lion, and if the lion doesn't treat us very well, we can decide we will ignore that, or I will be suffering day after day thinking how bad is the lion, instead of calming myself and trying to stop this snowball that will get me sick. The lion will still be very strong and happy, and probably will keep roaring to others, but I will be the one that is affected. All right? Technology help me now. It's not like it's not willing to move. Let's see. There we are. So how many times in your life you feel like you want to explode? Like a tiny thing in front of you, something that normally will not activate you, right? Like your kids are jumping all the time, they jump in the bed. Normally it's okay for you, but that day, you transform in the lion, right? And you were out of control, and then you went back hours later to the moment, and you're like, oh my goodness, what did I do? They were just jumping on the bed. Can you imagine a moment like that? What triggered you? What made you feel like that? What happened before you had that event? I know, for example, if I don't sleep well for a few days, I mean, I am very good with insomnia. I am like, I don't sleep normally many hours, but give me a week without sleeping more than 2 or 3 hours, and believe me, you will not like to be with me in the same room. I will be a lion for sure, no doubt. What triggers you? People don't follow instructions. Oh, I love that one. That will probably trigger me too. Anger or fatigue, of course. Repeating again and again. Oh my goodness, yes. I feel you. And what is the beauty about this? Fatigue, sleepless night, hunger, right? Of course. Oh my gosh. And I believe that for guys, it's even worse than for women. When they are angry, they really get very, very upset. It's so important to find out what triggers us, because the idea is not to go back on time and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I start screaming at you, right? It's exhaustion, of course. Is okay, if I am feeling exhausted, what about I take a few minutes and I find a way to rest, or I relax, or I do meditation, or whatever it is, or I eat even a cereal bar, or a fruit, and something unexpected happened that disappoint us. Yes, disappointment is like, yes, especially when there are negative news, right? Bad news. But what about if we, instead of going back home that day and with all this, monster growing inside of us, we know that it's coming. The question is when, right? And what will be the last drop? But what happens if we capture these moments? We are able to know that these will trigger us, and we stop them, or we fix them, or we control them, or at least we are aware enough so we don't have to explode and become the monster. So thinking about ourselves, thinking about our triggers and being self-aware could be a very good way to control chronic stress, and especially control the damage that we could be causing to others around us, because we can be victims of stress that others cause to us, but we can be the ones that are causing stress to others, right? And that's also something that impacts the life of others and creates this cycle of negative events. So there is a term that I find very interesting, and I believe I suffer from that here and there. My husband confirmed that actually today when I was showing him the presentation. He said, oh my gosh, it has a name. Now we know what happens to you. And it's called amygdala hijack. And we spoke about the amygdala, these little things inside of our brain that are, right, the ones that will say, alarm, alarm, there is fire, we need to run. But what happens if our amygdala, for some reason, and some reason maybe chronic stress, right? We have been triggering our amygdala so much and so often that our amygdala is less perceptive now, and probably is confused, and the boundaries and the thresholds have been diluted now. And under a little thing, the little situation, your amygdala, boom, alarm, alarm, right? And it's just nothing. And you will understand that it's nothing if you will be in, your baseline. But right now, your cortex, that is a part of your brain that helps you to think, that helps you to take decisions, especially your prefrontal cortex, your prefrontal lobe, that is the one that helps you to be wise and analyze the situations, is totally blocked. And you are just allowing your amygdala, the most scary part of your body, is the one that is afraid of absolutely everything, to take decisions. Can you imagine? Just getting a bath will be a traumatic event for you, or eating ice cream will be awful for you, because your amygdala will be afraid of whatever is in front of you that you don't know, or that is not comfortable, and you will be taking wrong decisions all the time, because it will not be you. It will be the most immature part of the brain taking decisions for you. And we need to be able to find out that this is happening, and we need to kind of stop this hijack of the amygdala, because if not, we will be in serious trouble. And now I want to play a little with you, and I will ask you to do this with me, and I am moving your faces so I can see all of you. And this is a hand model of the brain that was created by Dr. Daniel Siegel. And what he talks is about our brain, but like represented by our hands. And if you think that this part of our hands is our cortex, this part of our hand is our more premature area, the limbic system, and this is our spine. So this is how he talks about our brain. So we normally think and we take decisions with our cortex, especially in the tips of our cortex is our prefrontal brain, right? That is the most wise part, and they call it the wise old, right? It's the one that takes decisions, it's the savvy one. Here, our thumb is our amygdala, and they call it the guard dog. It's the one that will scream, alarm, alarm, right? So normally when we are in a good shape, all our body or our brain is connected, and that's how we function. Our amygdala is inside of the brain, covered up by our cortex and being protected, receiving all the time this feeling that someone is taking care, that someone likes her, that someone loves her, right? A little of TLC, right? Tender love. However, when we are in stress, in acute or even chronic stress, what will happen is that the amygdala will be here and the cortex will be separated from it. And this connection will not exist, and the amygdala will feel so lonely and so unprotected. And nobody's restraining her. So it's like if she wants to have a tantrum, the tantrum will be there. Nobody can stop her. So a good way to think about how we use this knowledge now in our current life is when we are feeling that we are close to the tantrum, just do this. Put your hand, get your tongue, and protect him. Let your amygdala know that you are there, that your prefrontal will support her, that she's not alone, and that she's not allowed to have a tantrum right now. Because the big boy, right, the wise old, is the one that is taking control. You see? Fun? It's a good way to teach kids too, by the way. But there are many other ways to go over this, right? And I will not go in detail, but most of you will probably know or have here in your life that sleeping well and having a good nutrition and doing physical activity, and in some cases, if you are interested in mindfulness practices or doing yoga or meditation for those that can do it. I am learning, by the way. I'm getting better. I'm getting more minutes. When I met Daniel the first time, I believe, like fighting with that one. But now I'm collecting minutes, so I'm doing my best. Going to nature, right? Being exposed to sun, receiving vitamin D, of course, working on our mental health and having supportive relationships. And I believe that one that I love the most, because I feel like it's the most meaningful in general, and the one that is possible. Like someone can say, I will never do diet, and someone else will say, I will not meditate, and I hate nature. But majority of us, we love relationships, and we love having someone that loves us and loves someone. And in the United States, the longest study that has been done in happiness, that has been done in Harvard, and is around more than, if I'm not wrong, like 80 or 90 years long, with 4 researchers, one after the other, because they were getting older, compared to groups of individuals. Those that went to Harvard and studied there, all of them males. Now the study added women recently, but they were all males. And those living in the same city, but in the poorest place of Boston, and without access to Harvard or nothing close to that. And they followed them year after year after year after year. And what they found out is that no money, no Harvard, no the car that you use, or the color of the skin, or the money that you have in the bank, nothing except for relationships. Having someone that you love and someone that loves you will be the only risk factor, if you want to call it like that, for happiness and for having a joyful life. So if you will invest on something here, if you have to select one, I probably will go with that one, because it looks like it's unconditionally related with happiness. And what else than happiness can be good for us to navigate life and probably avoid the stress? So I want to, now that we keep going and talking about the stress, I want to talk about those awful moments in life that all of us we have. And oh, I can have a long list of this, and I will not go there, but who can say that has a perfect, happy, healthy life? Probably nobody, right? If we didn't go to, something will happen in some point to us or to someone that we love. It's like that is part of life. We will go in front of challenges, some more easy than others. But what is interesting about that is that our body and our mind and us as human beings, we can have different reactions to same stimulus that are negative. Some of us, we can succumb, and we will call this post-traumatic stress, right? And if this post-traumatic stress is too severe, this will be depression, anxiety, and of course, long-term, probably suicide too. If we go through PTSD, but we are able to kind of bounce back a little from that, and it's just mild, we can have good life, a little impaired maybe we will not be able to get the jobs that we wanted or the relationship that we expected, but we will be able to function in society and survive. Some of us, we will have this internal ability or energy to recover, and that's what we call resilience. And in theory, it's super good, right, to be resilient. And during COVID, I heard this word resilience. It was something that everybody was repeating, like, like a mantra. We have to be resilient. But I discovered during my research that resilience wasn't what I wanted for myself. It was not good enough for me. It was good, not good enough. In positive psychology, there is a term that is called post-traumatic growth. What it means is that after a traumatic event, and trauma may be whatever, because for me could be maybe not being able to hug my kids again. But for a big sport guy, maybe to have, I don't know, a problem in his leg, so he cannot play soccer again. Imagine Messi, poor Messi, if he cannot play soccer again, will be a disaster. And so depending on our realities and our priorities or values, trauma means different things for others than for me. But all of us, we can grow after trauma, and we can thrive, and we can achieve more than just resilience, and more than just to go back to our baseline. And I think about this, and correct me if I am wrong, if someone thinks different, but it would be kind of sad to think that all of us, we navigate COVID for 2 years. We saw so much suffering, we saw so much death, we saw so much, I don't know, people that were role models, right? And we saw disparities, and we saw fairness, and we saw the amazing technology and how we can save lives and be creative. And 2 years after that, we are exactly the same that 2 years before. I don't think that I am the same person that I was before COVID. I hope I am not. And I hope you guys are not either, and that we were, as community and as human beings, we were able to learn something, that we were able to grow and to develop new skills and new understandings of the importance of life. So, do you guys agree? I think Nadia moving her. Yes, yeah, I'm glad. Let's move on. So now I just want you to take a deep breath and think about that. Just for you, inside of you, think about what was good about the tragedy of COVID, but how it helped you. What amazing thing you were able to achieve, even under the worst circumstances. It's interesting, right? How perspective is everything in life, and how something so tragic and that we were so upset with could maybe bring us something positive. And the difference between finding the positive and the negative is us. What is our perspective? What are we focusing on? So let me tell you my situation with COVID. So this is the personal part of the story. I was a very normal person. I will say happy, probably. Some days yes, some days no, but in general happy. And suddenly, oh, these bad things happened. COVID came to my life, and I feel this was a disaster. I had at that point 2 kids. They were 5 and 7. Now it's homeschooling with 2 little monsters at home, very hyper, by the way, jumping around to the point that my husband had to buy a bounce house for home so we can put them inside and they can burn all the energy jumping. And my job as a physician was not necessarily good. As you can imagine, it was very scary. I used to come home terrified. I didn't sleep with my husband for months. I had a special room separated from the house, and I wasn't able to hug my kids. And suddenly I got COVID, and I was terrified. And my kids were thinking that I will die. And all this was misery, right? And people dying, and we didn't have answers. And my parents were in Peru. I live now in Miami, so we were 6 hours away in a plane, and we were not able to see each other, and they are elderly. So for me, life was miserable, absolute disaster. And I am sure that many of you felt like that. And I have been called resilient all my life. For some reason, everybody asks me all the time, like, how do you do it? How are you so resilient? What's your trick? And I didn't understand what they were asking, and I didn't know the answer to that. But I knew that, yes, I bounce back like crazy. I am very good at bounding. But for COVID situation, just luck was not enough. I will not survive this one just with luck. I need a little more of structure for that. So I start thinking about, okay, how do I do this better? And I started to study, and I started to learn about mental health, and I started to learn about advocacy for well-being of physicians, and I started to collect information and learn about mindfulness and things like that were not my topic for sure, or my comfort zone. And I start to also think about, okay, how is my life? Why am I so resilient all the time? Because I really have troubles in my life, like I again and again, but I bounce back. So what I realized is that for me, life is not linear. And I know that we have been told that, right? Life is linear. We come here, we live, and we die. And in theory, it's like that. But if you think about science, and for me, I mean, I am a physician, so science is part of who I am. If I think about the periods in women, they come every 28 days, typical. Day and night, 12 hours, 12 hours. The year, 12 months, and everything is cyclic. So I was thinking, and why we decided that we live in a linear way. And watching my kids playing video games, I thought maybe life is not so simple like a linear, but it's more like a video game. And in video games, for those that play, I don't. I am very clumsy for those things. But what happens is that even if you are clumsy, you will not die the first attempt. You will go to the first level, and you will try, and they will kill you, and then you will have more life, and you will try again. And there are a few choices, right? Or you give up, which is possible, and you change for another game and you start playing Lego. Or you start learning and you Google the answers, or you ask your friends how they do it, and you learn, and then you close the first level and you go to the second level. So I felt like probably life for me is like that, cycle after cycle. And that's how the 3G cycle of life came alive, when I decided to find out how was my cycle of life. And let me tell you about my cycle of life. So My 3D cycle starts, and I'm moving this so I can allow you to see, with my first G. And my first G is goal. I find out that I am moved by goals. What do I want to achieve? Or what do I need to achieve? And some goals are kind of romantic, right? It's like, oh, I want to go to Italy and eat pasta there, which is more kind of a dream than anything else, or write a book. Some goals are enforced by your parents or by society. You need to go to college and graduate, right? Because you need to find a job. And in some cultures, we will find, right, that, and you need to get married and have kids before 30. So don't forget about that, right? And goals, but we function, or at least I function with goals. That's what sets me. This is what I want to achieve. But in order to be able to go after my goal, I need my second G. And my second G is grit. This internal energy that keeps me going, that makes me feel like, yes, I can do this, I can do this. But sometimes, like a normal human being that I am, I don't have that energy, and I feel very disappointed and tired, and sometimes I have my doubts and my imposter syndrome that is always coming to visit me. And those days is when this external energy from our friends, our mentors, our role models is so important, when we have the support of others that are keeping us moving and telling us that they trust us and that we need to keep going. And that's why I don't think that our cycles are individual cycles. We go through our cycles with others around us, and they come and go in and out of our cycles depending on the time. And the third gift should be goal. But the truth is that majority of us, at least we have one goal that we were not able to achieve, right? And that could be frustrating, and you can feel miserable at a point, and that's normal. But the question is, was that just the end of the story? Or it was just an opportunity for something extra? And many times we just don't achieve the goals that we set because we don't care about them anymore. Yes, I wanted to drive a red Ferrari when I was 15, but now that I am a mom with 2 kids and bicycles, my van is very good, so I can transport them, right? So the red Ferrari is not part of my goals anymore. Thank God I never bought one, right? So you can change your goals in life. Sometimes you are just not ready for them. Oh, I wanted to be the president of the United States. Nobody picked me. Well, yeah, but you were so young and you didn't know. But now you will go to the school and you will learn more things, and you will have, a better network, and you will try again. Maybe. And sometimes you will achieve your goals. And that will be wonderful, and we will celebrate that. But what happens all the time, no matter what, no matter if we achieve them, we don't achieve them, we will try again, or we will never try again, is that we will learn something from that experience. And we will develop a new skill, and we will develop new friends and new supporters and new perspectives, and we will be growing. And that growth will allow us to go to the next level of the video game of our life, and play better, and be faster, and be wiser, and be successful until the next challenge. But life is not so simple, and life has catalysts. And some catalysts are very positive. If you are blonde with blue eyes and a beautiful body, probably you will find, a boyfriend very soon. If you're an immigrant, like in my case, and you have an accent, and you come to the country super late, like in my case, and I have a big belly, running in the hospital, trying to become a doctor, believe me, my catalysts were not so cute. But the question is, what are the catalysts that allow you to grow more? The ones that are super easy and make your life wonderful, and you don't have to even sweat for what you are achieving, or those that put you on stress and make you be creative and, courageous and to go for it and to learn for it because you really care. And that's why I don't call them positive and negative, just those that, accelerate the process or delay the process. And those are part of my 3G cycle of life. And that's how I see my life: goal, grit, and growth. And why I believe so much in this type of vision? Because this vision empowers us. We don't become victims of what is happening to us. We don't feel sorry because, oh, I have an accent, or I came to this country old, or I have a disability, or I am not blonde, right? We use these things in our favor. We use adversity as an opportunity to learn, to get stronger, to set an example, and to also to help others. Because when we are able to do it, we can show those that are similar to us, that are afraid, that are thinking, I cannot do it. We can show that they can, and that we are the example for that. And when we are empowering others, we are empowering ourselves too, because now we know that if we were able to do something before, we will be able to do it now again, no matter how difficult this is, because we are able to find a way to do it, because we are smart enough, because we have the courage to go for it and to find a way and to learn and to develop the skills. And when it's needed, to ask for help, because we are more important than our egos, because we know that we have a goal and we have the grit, not only to get the goal, but even more important, to grow. And that will allow us to find a life that will be full of joy and meaning, and also well-being, because this life will allow us to create boundaries, to use the negative as positive, to select what is good for us, to say no when we have to say no, and to stop the stress even before it's coming. And we will know also that to be able to achieve all this, we need to take care of ourselves, even if it's so difficult. And I'm still learning, because believe me, as a doctor that thought that is a superhero and comes with superpowers, realizing that I am just a human being is a complete different story. So I am learning that I need to take care of myself. And I need to be kind with myself, and I need to hug myself and say, good job today, every time that I have 1 extra minute of meditation in my day. But that we can do it because we did things before that were difficult. So why we will not be able to do this one? Why will not be able to have a life full of well-being? And this is the phrase that motivates me. And this phrase comes from someone very smart. And actually, when he said that, he was only 7 years old. My kid, this is your life. This is your choice. This is your journey. And this means that we have control over what we do in our life, how we feel, how we navigate the challenges, how we navigate the good times, and what we do with all the knowledge and all the skills and all the experience, good ones and not so good ones, that we went through, and how we will impact the life of others in the future based on all of this. I want to show you something, and this I don't want to be taken as an advertisement in any way, but actually as an invitation. Part of the goal of the book is to create awareness about mental health and well-being. And for me, this book was a journey, but was a collective journey. 13 more individuals joined this journey and shared their stories. And what I'm trying to do is to replicate this now in a form of a video. And even if you don't buy the book, and if you don't like to read, and if you don't have the time, I have been collecting tiny paragraphs of the book that has been read by people around the world. So at some point, we are sharing, all of us, we are sharing positive comments and positive messages to others as an act of kindness to others. And when we do act of kindness, we also receive the joy and the happiness of what we are doing. So in some way or in some moment, you decide that you want to join these videos and you want to send me a video of you reading something from the book Positive and sending a message to others, I will absolutely love that. So let me show you just a sample of this.
Dr. Z, the sound's not coming through on our side.
Oh. So I have to do something different, right? Has to be shared with...
You might have to share the sound. So if you have a look at your Zoom settings from your side, when you press share screen, you should be able to also press share audio.
Let me unshare and share again. Share, stop sharing. And
then when you press share audio.
Share audio. Let me move. Oh, here, share sound. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Why I didn't, it was this? No. Yes, I believe so.
As in the last decade, as I've built different businesses.
Let me go back.
This book is more than a book. This book is a journey. It's my own journey escaping burnout and trying to achieve a better version of myself.
Hello, my name is Sherry Gabriel, and Miriam, it's an honor to have read your book, The 3G Cycle of Life. And one of the quotes and passages that really spoke to me is the one where you say, I didn't quit. I changed my focus to something aligned with my values, goals, and current reality. And for me, that resonates because as in the last decade, as I've built different businesses, I've done different things, one of my biggest fears was to quit, to stop doing something that I started. And when I read this, it actually reinforces the fact that we're not quitting. I'm not quitting something. I'm just refocusing and realigning it with my values. And that gives me a lot of strength. It gives me a lot of courage, a lot of motivation.
I get my energy from the stress I'm submerged on, and I can't function without that amount of adrenaline and dopamine in my body. I have no clue how to pause. I swear, when I read this in the book, I thought Dr. Z was writing about me. I mean, I thought I'm the only person in the world who just goes with a battery that never ends and the adrenaline. And I thought I'm the only person who just needs the adrenaline to live off of. Thank you, Dr. Z. Thanks for all the insights you've given me.
Daniel, you know this person.
The reality is, at some point, we face a personal or a professional challenge, a difficult decision, or a moment that makes us feel lost. This also happens to those who succeed and those on their way to success. We can't escape from these moments in life, the ones forcing us to prove we are ready. We can't escape circumstances out of our control. The only thing we can do is control our reactions, our feelings, and the way we face adversity. Always remember, you cannot change the past, but you can modify your present and build your future. Congratulations, Dr. Z, on your book.
And this is really what we were talking about. Let me see if I can move. And no.
This book is more than a book.
No, I don't want
this book is a...
and this is what we were talking about recently, right? About stress and being successful and how we manage our lives, trying to achieve certain things and feeling that we are able or not able to do things, and feeling guilty if we quit, if we don't do this, if we don't do that. And we are so mean sometimes with ourselves instead of being proud of what we are doing every day. I want to finish, and I guess my recording here, my screen disappeared here, but let me finish just. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay. Just showing this to you guys. I will, this one. I would like to invite you to the launch of the book. For some reason, the invitation needs to come through LinkedIn. So I am sharing with you guys my LinkedIn. Take a picture, contact me, and there you will be able to, I will be able to share with you the invitation for the activity. If you're interested in the book is $2. The goal of the book is not to make millionaires. Totally the other way is to try to spread some happiness and joy to other people. So if you're interested, you can find it in Amazon. And please, if you do so and you want to record a video, you will make me super happy if you send me a video, and I can do this movie. Thank you so much. And now I'm ready for questions, comments, etc. I expect no complaints.
Well, Dr. Z, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's at 10 o'clock here in Taiwan, and in Malaysia, and we're all going to have to zip out really fast. So what I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I want you to go to the chat box, say a big thank you to Dr. Z. And I want you to head over to LinkedIn and follow Dr. Z on LinkedIn, and also download a copy of the book today. And when you get your opportunity, share a short video of how the book and the 3G life cycle has made your life better, or you've seen a transformation in what you're doing. So Dr. Z, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, thanks to Dr. Z. Thank you. And we shall see you very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your morning, and I'll see you at our next upcoming event. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.